I was with some folks just recently, and I pulled out of a file in my office the House resolution, that I introduced on November 5th of 1997. That was the very first official inquiry of impeachment filed against Bill Clinton. And what I did is I took that document, figuratively kind of dusted it off, added a little bit of language to it, and darned if it doesn't sound pretty good with Barack Obama's name in there.
Why even joke about impeachment as you did on that radio show? Is that the type of divisive politics you think that we need in Washington?
Chuck, I don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't a joke. I was asked a question about impeachment, and I answered it very seriously.
We want all tools available to use, including the impeachment.
So tell me how I can impeach the President of the United States.
If we were to impeach the President tomorrow, you could probably get the votes of the House of Representatives to do it.
People may be starting to use the I word before too long.
Okay, the I word meaning impeachment.
Yeah.
If he continues this, could that build up to make a case for a possible impeachment?
All options should be on the table.
During President Obama's first term in office, the number of news articles mentioning him and impeachment stayed pretty steady, maybe because the right-wingers thought they would beat him in 2012. But after President Obama won re-election, impeachment talk exploded. Look at that.
He's feeding more distrust about whether he's committed to the rule of law. Listen, there's widespread doubt about whether this administration can be trusted to enforce our laws. And it's going to be difficult to move any immigration legislation until that changes.
The president has got to demonstrate, frankly, the country and the Congress can trust him in implementing the laws. Look what he's done with Obamacare. He has selectively enforced that law.
Here's the issue that all Republicans agree on. We don't trust the president to enforce the law.
We've also talked about the I word, impeachment, which, again, I don't think would get past the Senate in the current climate. Am I missing anything? Then you can insert whatever you want, Benghazi, Fast and Furious, the IRS targeting of advocacy groups, NSA overreach. If you like your health care, you can keep it.
The president ordered Anwar al-Awlaki killed by a drone strike.
The president effectively enacted the DREAM Act himself.
The deepwater drilling ban, Mr. Holder's attempt to reform criminal justice by selectively enforcing our laws, Mr. Obama's unilaterally ignoring immigration laws in many cases.
I mean, it's for any variety of reasons. Because he wasn't born here, because of immigration reform, the Defense of Marriage Act, and Fast and Furious, and not extending the Bush tax cuts, over his recess appointments, the DREAM Act, the war in Libya, gun control, Benghazi, and because of, quote, all the czars he's appointed. I mean, it's amazing.
It's amazing that the kitchen sink isn't in there.
Our next guest says the effect of the president's actions over the years rises to the level of an impeachable offense.
He doesn't want to be bound by any law, and that's the rub. The Constitution says no man is above the law, including the President of the United States. He has rewritten the Constitution for himself as a part of his effort to fundamentally transform the United States of America.
If, in fact, I could solve all these problems without passing laws in Congress, then I would do so. But we're also a nation of laws. That's part of our tradition. It is not simply a matter of us just saying, we're going to violate the law. That's not our tradition.
They're ginning up for the midterm elections and the presidential elections by talking about this preposterous laundry list of impeachable offenses and then stumbling over themselves. My favorite line was a Daily Kos headline this morning that talked about how the Republicans held a hearing to see how many times they could say impeachment without sounding crazy. They're at odds about whether to say it. Representative Stockman of Texas has actually drawn up articles of impeachment, which could be seen as an IQ test for his colleagues, passing around this list of things, and they range all over the map, reasons to say that the president has violated the Constitution. But we went to the Supreme Court on the Affordable Care Act, so that one really is done as a constitutional violation.
If the president instructs the Treasury Secretary to, though the money is there to pay interest, if he instructs him to default, I think we're getting close to a high crime and misdemeanor.
Obama, he's not president, as far as I'm concerned. He should be executed. He's an enemy combatant, really. But the Muslims that he is shipping into our country through pilots in commercial jets, what's it? I can't tell you, I can't say, because we're in a public place. This guy is a criminal. Nobody stopped him. And the other thing is, too, with Congress doing nothing, that legally allows this moron to make decisions. He has no authority, none. And we just say, oh yeah, we should do this, and we should do that, and he shouldn't do this. But nobody's doing anything that's accomplishing anything.
Look, everybody knows the lawlessness of this president. He picks and chooses which laws he's going to enforce or not enforce. He does it by decree.
What I need from you is to know what you can do, you and your fellow non-communist colleagues in the lower house, what you can do to stop these communist tyrannical executive orders laid down by this foreign-born, American-hating communist despot. What can you do for me? We need to know.
So, thank you for your question. He said it loud enough that you all heard it.
What do you think about Obama's birth certificate being called?
Here's what I think about Obama's birth certificate being a forgery. I have a lot of doubts about all that.
He needs to be stopped.
Articles of impeachment.
Yes, we need to get that. It should have been started a long, long time ago. Is somebody going to finally draw up something that's going to stop this runaway train that we have in the White House?
If I could write that bill and submit it,
do it.
It would. Yeah. Excuse me. It would be a dream come true.
He's a Marxist. He's a Muslim Marxist.
Well, he's at least a Marxist. He surely understands the Muslim culture.
He surely does. And that's where he grew up with. That's what his culture is.
He doesn't have an American experience.
He
does not have an
American. He didn't grow up in America.
I have time for one more question. Yes, ma'am.
The only way I see out of this is to overwhelmingly change the Senate.
Thank you.
So that we then can impeach the SOB.
You look so sweet.
We have an increasingly lawless presidency.
All I can tell you is that the general consensus is that he has produced a birth certificate. The question is it legitimate?
So tell me how I can impeach the President of the United States.
There is a pattern of lawlessness in this administration that is breathtaking.
Barack Obama does not have his hand on the Bible.
Is he really president?
I still don't know what the man is going to do.
He's not going to succeed. Socialism has failed.
Deep-seated hatred for white people.
In Obama's America, the white kids now get beat up with the black kids cheering, yeah, right on, right on, right on, right on.
Apologizing to these Muslim terrorists, some would say, instead of actually taking them on.
If you are going to be the president of the United States, you have to be born in this country.
People are allowed to ask why President Obama won't produce his birth certificate.
He's a street thug. As a community organizer, that's what you are. You're a street thug. I went to bed last night thinking we've lost the country. I don't know how else you look at this. Obama may not give up the crown, just like Queen Elizabeth.
Look, it's rather unseemly if you are the commander-in-chief, the leader of the free world, and the most powerful man on earth who could reduce pieces of the planet to a cinder on his command, to get so whiny